Tales from the Dispensary, radical optimism, and hats. All this and more on today's Brilliant Observations. Do, 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 do. My mistake is looking at you. That's
What?
my mistake. Looking at you when I speak is my mistake because you make me laugh every time, and I'm not doing it again.
You're funny. You're funny, Melissa. I'm listening
Am I
to
a
you
sarcastic pinata?
I don't need to hit you. The sarcasm flows freely and unabated. Okay?
Unabated.
You do your little yip yap, bing, and blah blah blah. Coming up all now with this and also and I laugh because it's fun. I watch you do it, and she's got all her plans. She's got note cards. She's got glasses on. She's ready to go. She's put thought and effort and time. You fuckers, can't you people be nice? I'm supposed to laugh. Isn't that the plan? I'm doing desired
Can't you
result.
fuckers be nice? Victim. I am a victim. Can't you be nice to her? She is a victim.
Come on.
Hey,
come
Amy,
on.
how are you? How was your Thanksgiving?
Thanksgiving was great. It was so strange and great and easy and great and hard all at once and lovely. So how about you? Did you have a fun and restful and peaceful and silly Thanksgiving, I hope?
I'm not finished with you. I'll get to me in a second.
Oh, my.
Did your Thanksgiving meal, was it the gourmet amaze that your sister has done for the last, 2 years now? And
It absolutely was. Check, check, check. And why it was so strange is because she was off her game. And it made no sense. It doesn't impact the food in any way because that sort of translated into me being off my game, in which case it was so silly and weird and fun and goofy, off her game in this way. Okay, everything was pristine and fantastic, fabulous, thought out, planned, great. And for some reason, shit was going sideways. And the response to shit going sideways was like, well, that went sideways. And I'll give you an example. So she received in her home a new oven 4 days ago.
Oh, no, right before Thanksgiving?
She does not own her home. She is a sort of permanent tenant
Caretaker.
in a historic property. So when the oven dies, she gets no say in the oven. So she said to the folk, oven died. Here's some research about some ovens that would fit in and ovens that I might like. I'd even love to just purchase the oven I'd like. So this is exactly, and they're like, great, we heard oven died, new oven. And they got her a shittier oven than the one she had that doesn't fit her pots and pans.
Oh, my God.
Before Thanksgiving with some shit that she'd prepped in advance in dishes that no longer fit. So she was cooking in the throwaway tins, some of which bent and leaked because whoever cooks in that shit.
Oh, honey. Yeah.
She had there was a little bit of grease, smoke in the kitchen on the day of, and you can't hide greasy smoke. You can hide it by getting it out of your house, but you can't hide that smell. So I don't think anybody else noticed that. But I was in the kitchen like, hey, what's up? And then, we got half a body in the floor of the oven, covered in the asbestos-lined whatever, trying to wipe it out and just sort of looking at me. And the answer was not, get the fuck out of my kitchen. I hate everyone. Thanksgiving can suck my hole.
Right.
Instead, the answer was, let's have a Manhattan. So she put the oven closed.
I love
let
her
the Brussels
so much.
sprouts burn. Because they're not burning. It was just burning on the bottom of the oven, right? And they're only getting reheated. Like the way that she has mechanized everything or weaponized, depending on how you want to look at it. She has weaponized Thanksgiving against mediocrity. So she says, let's have a Manhattan. She had already pre-mixed and in a pitcher with individually styled. She took little baby paper clips that are made of not paper clips, those little clothespin wood clips. Do you know what I'm trying to say?
Yep,
Yeah.
sure. Clothespins. They're mini clothespins.
Minute, so small, clipped to the edge of the glass so that it could hold the dried, sweetened key lime circle, so that instead of a wedge, you have a whole circle of a key lime and it's tiny. And clipped to that is a rosemary sprig on the side of your glass, so that when you have your whatever the fuck flavored gimlet that's already poured for you, like in a pitcher with the fancy ice with shit in the ice frozen into this is the cocktail setup
Oh
of
my
one of many.
God.
That's one of many. And she says, let's have a Manhattan. So I say, I agree. So she starts to mix the Manhattan. This is the last of the story. She starts to mix the Manhattan. She's standing there shaking it, talking to me, and she goes, just can you believe this shit? You know how you have a shunk, shunk, shunk with the shaker? She fucking dropped the shaker on her foot, and it came open. So the hard stainless steel shaker, ba-boomza, right on her foot. And I don't know how you cook, but she didn't have any shoes on. On the toe, bang.
Oh my God.
All the contents of the fucking shaker went everywhere in the kitchen, all over me, who was standing next to her, all over the cabinets, all over the oven, which is the irritant to begin with. And frankly, it was the last of the bourbon, which was unusual because whoever runs out of bourbon. So we're like, what the fuck? So then we're like this, looking at each other like, I don't even know what's happening. I don't know what's happening. So we went back to the gimlets. I mean, that's okay. All right. There's always more gimlets. So it's very weird.
You know, I have this thing where Friends is running constantly in the background of everything that's going on here. I changed the TV show, but it's the comfort for my ADD. It's either Big Bang or Friends or West Wing, whatever it is. I just have something constantly going. And as you say this, I remember yesterday there was an episode where Chandler steals a cheesecake, right? And and they love it. It's the best cheesecake they've ever had. Rachel and Chandler eating stolen cheesecake. They get a second one. They fight over it. It falls on the floor of the hallway between their apartments, and they both pull up a fork. This is kind of how I see your Thanksgiving, where are we eating directly out of the oven and drinking off the floor? It doesn't matter. It's that good that it's worth the trip. I have an extendable fork in my pocket that I bring with me everywhere. It's a spork. It works for everything. And I would eat your sister's food and drink, let me be clear, off the floor at any given point of time. So it might have blown up and been crazy, but I bet you it was still fucking delicious.
It was fucking so banging. And I will just do this for the sake of being organized. I took the time prior to recording to write down the menu because I knew you would ask me. And it's so lengthy, it's actually in 3 parts. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm not going to tell you I'm going to post it because, dear listener, loving you as I do, I'm not going to fucking do it. I have come to accept who I am. That's part of what the show is about. I'm going to actually share that. So rather than belabor the menu, I will tell you that at the very tail end of this thing, after the bye, I will then open my iPad and read the menu. So if you want to hear it, just jump to the end and then, or maybe come back and play it to the end. Or maybe, I don't know, listen all the way to the fucking end. So how are you, Melissa?
Do you realize that at the end of every single show, I put one of your drops of ridiculousness? Do you listen that long when you redo it?
I get mad. So I've stopped to try and protect myself. But I do have a policy on this show, which I think is obvious, but I will state obvious for those who care to hear it repeated and reinforced. If I'm saying it into a microphone, then it's my own fault. So I accept that. I accept that I'm here and that I have a brain in my head and that some things
just pop out.
Sometimes some things just pop out. And the answer is I either need to put it in context and clean it up or own that it popped out. So that's the way that this rolls. I don't love it. And hey, if you'd ever like to embarrass yourself, I got a path.
Don't do a
for
podcast.
You. Call me. I will set you up with our friend Jessica Kupferman. She's got just the podcast network for you to join. But until that day, just, revel in the fact that I have gotten very humble in sharing all my foibles and stupidities with the rest of you. So over on that cheery little note, how was your Thanksgiving?
It was really great. This year, my husband was on call, which could mean anything. He's on call every day, but around this season, everyone's getting sick, and we didn't go far. We went to the beach, and it was a dinner with just the 4 of us. And I know Thanksgiving's one thing, and vacation from school or whatever is another. To sit down and have this air quote, holiday meal, just the 4 of us as an away game kind of with gourmet catery, what was so delightful and so surprising that you get to know your kids as adults. When I'm ordering the meal, my husband says, do you want the mashed potatoes or the yams? And I said, yes, what's the question? Like, what are, yes, I want it all. Like, what do you say? I think I know what my kid would like. I think these kids went to college. They came back. They're pretty much adults. They're people I want to know and with whom I want to be friends and the whole nine. So it was like delightful. It was like going out with another couple and getting to know them in a way that I really haven't before. And I loved it. It was great. I did get some guilt from my sister-in-law who said, "You missed a really good." And I'm like, I'm sure I did. I'm sure it was excellent. I'm sure it was the very same as it has been for the last 25 years that I've been part of this family. I had a special Thanksgiving and I loved it. And we were at the beach, so I got to go to my favorite chocolate shop and I got to walk the dogs a million times and hit the boardwalk with my daughter and do different walks and like it was just so much fun. It was a really good weekend and now everybody's back at school. They're gone. Empty nest all over. I also
Why
came to
did
the
you
conclusion.
decide to be with them? Well, I want to hear about that, but why did you decide to be with them and to face the transition of skipping just this 1 year? Was it as momentous as your sister-in-law's casual comment, which I'm sure wasn't meant to guilt you at all, had to imply? Or was it like, did you feel like I need to make a break this time because of this moment in time? Or was it just, it worked out that way and in the end, it ended up being the most special ever? Like, I'm just curious.
Choice B. I had no intent of, I'm not driving to Connecticut on Thursday, the busiest travel day, to sit in traffic with kids who are annoyed that they don't even know the people who are going there except for, you know why? The next day was Friday, and those family members of my husband's came back to the shore, and we all had dinner together on Friday. So I honestly
so you were
feel
seeing everybody anyway, and you saved your
Yes.
kids, honestly, 10 hours in the car.
10 hours in the car.
When
and
they have to
loved
go
it.
back to their 6 hours in the car or whatever in the case of the one.
Correct.
Okay.
Right?
Got it. So, yep.
It was brilliant.
Okay.
It was the
Good.
bestest ever. We took family walks. My son said, "I'll go until I'm done, and then I'll go back home." And I'm like, "You do that." And before you knew it, we were walking up the driveway. And
A man after my own heart.
well, I say, "I'll go until I have to poop, and then I'll turn around and I'll go." But yeah, I respect it. I'm not going to force you to do it. I just wanted them to relax. These are two kids who have a newish motor, and I don't want that motor to overheat. I want to give them every side lane or possibility to let out some frustration. You want to go and shoot hoops at the elementary school up the block? Go do that. It's just you. It was so relaxing and so nice. And then we came back here, did all the laundries, packed up their stuff, and gone and sad again. But I do want to tell you that while down in the sketchiest part of where I live down there is called Atlantic City. Well, they have, that's my new segment here. It's called Tales from the Dispensary.
Yeah, we're ready. Okay.
So I think you should not put dispensaries in bad neighborhoods because you're looking for trouble. So I find trouble. Are you though?
Mm-hmm. It's good trouble, as I understand it, from whoever, God rest him.
Yeah, right. Good trouble. Yes.
Tell me about the tale of the dispensary, please.
I always meet the most interesting people. I need to get this. Can I cut in front of you? I have to get enough weed for my whole family. Tomorrow's Thanksgiving. So I thought, wow, you have different traditions. Or are you going
that wasn't
back
you
to the
talking?
basics?
That was someone in line?
No.
I thought that was
Yeah.
you.
No. I'm going to tell you why I was there. They do edibles in New Jersey that they don't do in Pennsylvania. And when I got a text message that said, "We have caramels," I said, I need to have those in my mouth. Let's remedy that situation.
Oh my God.
Yeah, isn't that cool?
Okay. I don't know if it is. Okay.
Cappuccino flavored caramel. It was fucking delicious. The issue is you have to eat one or maybe two, but that whole bag was like, eat me. Please.
Well, did it taste
me.
like something that you want? My experience with edibles is there's always, bong water backwash in them. No matter what you do, I've never had one that doesn't remind me. You know what you're doing. You can pretend it's something else. So cappuccino, caramel, Did it taste like a
It was
cappuccino
delicious.
caramel? And
It was
not
delicious.
that has been, marinating in the trunk of like
I know.
Steve's shoe rack in the back
Socks,
of his
yeah.
apartment. Yeah.
Gym bag,
So-
sock. Yeah. No, it was delicious. And I don't live there, so I can't go get more right now. And they're so inconsistent in dispensaries. They don't have the stuff you like when you go back a second time. So you have to take
Right.
a chance and buy them out the first time and then hate it.
Those people
and it
get
tastes like
busted
feet.
and then end up in prison. Yeah, and don't make it anymore. That's what happens.
They do. That's
Yep.
exactly
That's
what happens.
It's not seasonal. It's more like penal code is the thing that actually dictates whether they're
Penile.
available.
And now we are back to brilliant observation.
Hey.
So I let someone cut me because mom and dad and their family had a request for a certain strain of weed, and they needed to get it, so I let them cut me. So that was my tale from the dispensary. I have a caramel that I'm saving for you.
Are. You're so kind.
I'm a good girl.
You're so kind to be able to help people who need their drugs in a particular way. Good for you. Thank you.
I'm a good girl. You know who's not a good person?
Ooh, I don't.
One of the gents who lives across the street from us at the shore who has a blue light small animal repellent outside his house.
What the fuck is this? They don't
Yeah.
work. What is even that?
Well,
Is that what that
does
is?
does it affect dogs? We're walking around the house and we see from outside there's a blue light that's flashing at a neighbor's house diagonally across from us. Well, what's that? What's that over there? My husband took a picture, sent it to my daughter. My daughter put it in Google Images search. It turns out we could run catfish on our own. It turns out that it is a small animal repellent. What effect does that have on canines and cats that are out?
And neighbors who want to fucking kill you because you're
And
walking out
neighbors.
and all of a sudden I have this blinking bullshit
Blue light.
in my area.
Blue light, yes. What effect does that have on small animals? Because if I find out that my dogs can hear that and that's why they don't want to go on that side of the street, I am kicking that shit down so fast. I don't care who has a Ring camera.
You think there's
What
a
is that?
sound as well, or did you say sound and meant sight? You think there is a
No,
pitch
I don't
too
think
high
the
to
light
hear?
does it. That's what I think it is.
Well, I tell you, my neighbor, the woman who went to Sweden, she had, if careful listeners will remember, she put shit around her pool that it's a sound to get the birds to go away. And she first heard it when she was somewhere and to make the monkeys leave. So it is one of these,
Oh, yeah.
it's doing the bullshit and then it keeps the birds from coming and poo-pooing in your pool. And she had tiny dogs and didn't worry about it at all. But I don't know
Okay.
if she didn't love her dogs. So it could be.
I'm going to do 5 minutes of research, and if it turns out that it has any effect on animals other than the rabbits that they don't want
Birds
there,
and bats and squirrels gonna scurry.
Gonna scurry.
Yeah, it's gross. I don't want any part of this.
who does
I
that?
mean-
That's not a nice person.
Well, maybe it is a nice person because I have neighbors with shotguns who actively shoot squirrels. And I mean, there's lots of other ways to get squirrels to go away. You don't have to
You're
like
saying it could
explode
be
their
worse.
craniums.
Is that what you're
Yes.
saying? It could be
Yes,
worse.
you could be out there. I hung out with a guy for a while. He had a crossbow and he would shoot deer like in the city. I'm like, dude, not only is that super illegal, it's kind of weird. Like you don't have to worry
And
about deer
dangerous.
this
Right.
much. Yeah, and it was just because he was a hunter and he was like, well, they're coming into my area now. And I'm like, that's not like he would actively have a hunting license and go hunting, and that's why he had all of that shit. But it's like, yeah, don't bring that stuff to downtown Urbanville. We don't want it. Stop. What can I say?
Okay. What is your take on radical optimism?
So last week, I started thinking about this just casually, and it really stuck with me. And I suspect that our entire culture and society is hardwired against what if the good thing happens? We are built to predict the bad thing happening, and it's
And
insidious.
prepare for, right? And prepare
We don't think
for.
about it. We don't think about it. You don't think about yourself as being, anyone here listening does not think about oneself as being a negative person or planning for the worst. Hope for the best and plan for the worst, right? You don't have to be somebody who has all of the insurances and a backup pair of underwear in the trunk and all the things that you need for just in case literally shit goes sideways. You don't have to be
I
that kind of
do.
person. There's a spectrum of folk. I don't even know where
Yeah.
you fall on the spectrum. This is not about placing you on that. But there's super crazy, scared, prepared, all the way to that person doesn't even have what they need for like right now. Forget the future, right? So there's this big, long range of people.
Are you
You have
comparing
a question.
Melissa? Are you comparing Melissa, who has a spare pair of underpants for all 4 members of her family in her trunk, to Amy, who runs out of gas on the regular and depends on the kindness
I don't see
of
how
strangers?
you want to bring that into this conversation. People love to help, number one. And I don't want to see how, no, I'm not. And I'm not going to mention.
Okay, I'm just checking.
We need to talk about what's in my tank. Here's what we need to know.
Are you empty right now? Are you on empty right now?
Our whole society is set up. Stop you. Our whole society is set up to reward thoughts that anticipate bad outcomes. And here's what I mean. We don't have emergency funds for things that are going to go great, right? There was a movie one time he created a circus fund for things that, all of a sudden you want to go to the circus and here's your money. We don't have savings accounts. We have all these things for your health is going to decline and where are you going to live and you've got to pay for this thing and you have to have insurance against shit breaking and what happens and you have to have things in case you lose your job and in case. All my point to you is, conversely, where is the equal and opposite side of that teeter-totter where people are praising you for leap and the net will appear? People are praising you for saying...
That's your 401k. That's your 529. That's your Roth IRA. That's your retirement fund. That's your planning for not right now, but for when income isn't coming in and you can play and you can travel and you can do things in retirement. Retirement fund doesn't count as that?
I think that it is rooted. My opinion now is that even those things that I actively fund, I actively think about retirement. I put money in retirement. I think about paying for the kids' school. I put money in all that, future, and how it's coming. So let's prepare for it. Why are we not also on some level preparing for, we don't know what's coming. So it's okay and should be lauded and rewarded to take some of the future prepare money and spend it now, to take some of the attitude and live it now. Because I don't hear anybody saying things like, good for you. You quit that job that you hated that was sucking your soul out of your brain. You
with
stopped
no other job
money
on the horizon.
With no other job.
Right.
Nothing else
Nobody
on the horizon.
says that.
Nobody looks at you and goes, oh my God, I'm so excited. I can't wait for everything to work out. Is it going to work out this month? That's so cool. You don't know what's happening? God, that's great. You made a decision based on something that is smart for you right now.
Your mental
and based
health.
on trust. It's based on trust that only good things are coming your way and that you don't even know what those good things are, instead of putting all of your eggs.
Sounds like a crazy person to me.
It does sound like a crazy person. And why is that? So I always like to come up with a way to put things in our little notes to each other before we talk on the show. We put them on a different board that we can share. So I called it radical optimism. Because if that's
Are you
what it
pitching
feels like
this?
sometimes. If that's what
Are
it
you
feels
pitching
like.
this?
I'm pitching it to myself. I'm pitching
go
it to
ahead.
myself. That when things feel overwhelming, and much of this is born of my awareness that I will be making the last tuition payment without grad school in 2030, which is a long way away. That's a lot of tuition payments to make day in and day out. We've planned for as much as we can plan. Some of it we're, just figuring it out as we go. And I work for myself, as I was describing to someone else who had a corporate job. I was saying things are really tight right now. We got 2 kids in college and it's so hard and it's all true. I agree. And I can relate. And then she was saying something along the lines of, I don't even remember what the hell she was saying, but I said, yeah, it's tough when there's a kink in the hose. Oh, they were having a tight moment because they had spent something. So it's like a cash flow problem. I would call that cash flow problem. And I said, yeah, it's tough when there's a kink in the hose. And I said, but can I also say, when you unkink the hose, the water keeps flowing. The only one who puts water in my hose is me. So when I unkink it, it's dry. It's fucking dry. Unkinking the hose is the least of my problems. I'm worried about the water source. So anyway, all of that fixation and focus, isn't it radical to think, I don't know where the water's coming from, but I know there's water. I know my hose is always going to be full. How do I know that? Because I fucking know it. Because the 401k is my attitude. It's my brain and my trust in the future. I'm investing in my mindset for the future that good shit's going to happen to me. Oh, well, I might drop the entire Manhattan bucket on my fucking foot, break my damn toe on Thanksgiving Day, but there's always more alcohol in the house. This is not really the best analogy. I'm just trying to say, why are there not more people saying good for you for being, for it? Why is it risky to pretend that the future is great? And why is it safe to pretend that the future brings hardship?
I feel like you've been talking near my TikTok because my algorithm now has this guy who comes on who says,
what?
Picture your family and everybody you love happy and successful. The reason that you panic and get upset is because you think of all of the things that can go wrong and maybe even self-fulfilling prophecies there because you didn't will it because it's not your will, you don't want it, but you've brought it into action and fruition. So take that time instead of saying, I hope my kid's not sitting outside her testing place right now, freaking out, chewing off her nails and pulling off her eyebrows. I know that she is sitting there ready to go with her 6 number 2 pencils and 2 Snickers bars, and she is going to kill this LSAT and this blah, blah, blah. Like, you have to, in your head, build up the positive is what this guy was saying. And I thought, you're an idiot. Click, swipe, whatever I did. I moved on.
Stop it.
I understand the manifestation. Yes, you can manifest. It's just as easy to manifest beautiful, great things. And to your point, I would like to do that more. I'm going to try to make a conscious effort to be more positive, but that is not going to stop me from physically, technically, whateverly, pick an adverb, preparing just in case shit goes sideways. If I prepare for it at the top and then stop thinking about it, it's hopefully working itself.
I'm not asking you to do anything different than what you're already doing in terms of the way you structure your life or live your life. What I'm suggesting is that you add. I don't need you to subtract.
A mindset shift.
I want you to add. What I heard you say are 2 things that I would like you to add into your routine, right? And the first is I'm actively preparing for a future to make sure that the future that I have is at least at baseline as good as the present. That's what you're preparing for, which hopefully I would view as a kind of a negative mindset, right? It's a kind of fail-safe, oopsie, watch out, I don't know, caution, scared, the future might be really shitty unless, right?
Welcome to my world. I would say is,
yeah. Okay. Well, I guarantee that you are set up a lot better than I am via traditional methods for any future reality because you have planned for a spectrum, but you are, I might posit, focusing on one end of the spectrum, and that is worst case. So where's the best case spectrum? I would like you to add planning and preparation for the wildest dreams reality that is headed your way. How do you plan for that? How do you invest in that? How do you focus on that? It's not, I love the word manifest for me because it has a great meaning and it's a focus puller and it's motivating. I think when you hear the word manifest, you think, the first word that came to mind is shyster, which is not a great even word to say. So it's like, I think you hear manifest and think bullshit, flim flam, it's a scam, waste your time, stupid, pull the wool over your eyes, manifest, bullshit. So instead, I would say, okay, fuck that word. How am I actively planning for the wildest dreams future reality? Because on some level, you're also not planning for the wildest, worst nightmares reality. You're not. You haven't planned for complete annihilation and destitution. You've planned for, okay, if things change in a way I don't like, how can I be protected? So all I'm saying is add in an answer to the question, if things change in a way that I do like, how can I expand it? If things change in a way that I can't anticipate and they keep getting better and better, how can I be ready for that? How can I be more ready? How can I maybe invite more of that in? And here's the second thing, then you can cut me off. Second thing is, I heard you say, sometimes I think about, we'll pick a child. I think about one of my kids and I have a worry moment. And I think, oh goodness, what if, and how, just thinking about future realities, and they're not all great. And so I try to think about ways that I can make it better. Well, add that in. Think about a future where instead of a worry, I don't know what the word is for the opposite of a worry, a positive fantasy about what could happen. Because a worry is just praying for things you don't want. So why not think about that child and imagine and envision, predict, create a future situation where only the best things are happening. Visualize it, taste it, think about it to such a degree where you're actually, like when you think about things going bad and you start to feel bad for that person, actively feel good for that person. Actively think about that highlight moment and how great you feel for them and with them and because of them. Like actively wishing that good thing into the world can't be bad. How can that be bad? All right, I'm done.
I want to bring more of that in because I have stated before, you're only as happy as your most miserable child. So keeping that child above average on everything is really, or seeing them that way. Because you said it, if I think she's upset or he's upset or somebody, right the pit of my stomach. Do I love that I lived through them? No, I have my own life too. But I am now going to try to project all of the joy and positive and good things I'm going to try to attribute them to my children, and hopefully something will stick. And I don't know. We had lots of conversations about reasons you go to therapy because of your parents, like A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P. So I said, whatever your dad and I did to fuck you up, we're sorry. We'll pay for therapy. I give you 2 years to work this shit out, and then your actions
Pretty
are
tight
your own
timeline.
doing.
It's a pretty tight timeline.
Your actions are your own doing. You fix this shit yourself. No, but that was, we had a really, really good experience together. So I just want to keep feeding that positivity and not to pull the negative back, but see how long that shit lasts. let's keep pushing that agenda.
Just add in something else, right? Just add in a couple of positive thoughts. If you find yourself having a normal human moment where you are thinking about this creature who you were biologically connected to protecting, right? If you think about that creature and you're hardwired to protect, also think about celebrate. Joy. Where's the wrapping? Where's the moment where it's nothing but, sliding down a hill of cream cheese? I don't know what the fucking thing is, but super easy, good. Let's go.
Smooth,
right?
like peanut butter, the
That's it.
cheap kind.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's it.
Okay. We had a tiny dust up prior to Thanksgiving in this house. There's somebody in our home that makes all of the tech phone calls. My parents wait for us to come to fix things. I think we're getting to the point where we wait for the children to come home to fix things, but we're not there yet. I had a problem with my phone, and I said it loud enough so that my husband would take my phone, call Apple, and fix it. Because I am not going to spend 7 hours on the phone with Apple. It's just not going to happen. To me, I'd rather live without whatever that thing is and say, my phone used to do that.
Yeah, I got to feel like him calling Apple is your gift with marital purchase. I just feel like that's
right.
You're always going to, that's not going to wait for him. Sorry. And that's kind of his jam. That's kind of his jam. There is, patriarchal as it may be, there is men's work and women's work. And calling technology people is men's work. I'm not fucking doing that. And it's not because I'm not better at it. I am.
We are. Right.
But fuck you. I have better things to do with my time, number one. So have fun.
Go ahead, say that to my husband. I dare you. So
and I can hear my husband, if ever he would listen to this podcast, which he truly does not. He would actually, and the only time, if ever there's a time, it's when I'm sitting right next to him. He'd be looking at you and go, "That's bullshit. That's cap. That's ridiculous. Everybody knows that you are not the better one," and blah 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 blah, and rah rah rah, all the things. So guess what?
I want to hear him say
that's
podcast.
Cap. Yeah. Okay.
I want to hear him say that's cap.
He would actually never say that's cap.
I know. I'm willing to go without whatever potential service that is. Like, oh yeah, my phone used to do that too. Could easily come out of my mouth. But he's like, just call Apple. I'm like, who the fuck has the time or interest to sit and walk through? And also my ADD brain will not allow me to 10 different things have to happen before I will be in a space.
I gotta say, gal pal, your husband's go-to method is also just call. And I'm here to tell you, nobody fucking pick up the phone store. Nobody
It's a tough
in their
one.
right mind. He picks up the phone over non-phonable shit all the time. I have heard him on the phone with customer service for Keurig. I have heard him on the fucking phone ordering a pizza with a human. Friends, listener friend, dear friend, listener. What? If you're not in your car going, Jesus, and I love Jesus. No,
He's
come
a
on,
caller.
That's ridiculous. He liked to call. He liked to
He's a
yippity
caller.
yap 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 yap. I bet you it's going to migrate too. I got sad news for you. I got news for you. You know what the evolution of this shit is?
Oh,
You know
no.
what it is?
Oh,
It's
no.
physically going to the fucking bank. It's physically going to the pizza store to order the pizza. He's going to physically go there because calling's not. It's going to be too confusing to call. I just need to go there in person. That's next. That's your future.
I will
You're
be
in
sitting
trouble.
on my big
You're in
my
trouble.
big solo chair and a half with a dog, and I'll be texting
Yeah.
and I'll be like, "Why isn't she answering me?" And he'll say, "You know what I'm gonna say." I'm like, "I'm not fucking calling her. There are 3 sleeping children in her house, and a blah blah blah." His
No one
answer
answers
is
the phone who's
call.
any good. Number one, no one is going to answer the phone who's any good.
Who's
Okay,
any
so if you get
good?
him on the phone, you're already in mid.
Can I speak to your manager?
Yeah.
Can I speak
Yeah.
to your manager?
No,
Can I
because
speak
they won't
to your
get on
manager?
the fucking phone. And I got news for you. They're not waiting for you in the office either. So if you go there in person, that's lower tier. Because they're the ones going, can I put you on hold, please? They're not talking to you either on the phone. Oh, come on. You need an intervention, I think. Because this is going to work out poorly for you.
Dear listener, are you the kind of person who will call Apple and sit there on hold for 48 minutes to then spend another 48 minutes to discover you're doing it wrong? Or are you like Melissa and you'll go without screen sharing, or you'll go without whatever the specific service was that I was missing?
Right.
Let us know. brilliantobservations@gmail.com. Go on to, I don't know, maybe Facebook. Go to Brilliant Observations or Brillob Squad. Check us out on Instagram at Listen Brilliant. We will be there as well, and happy to hear your thoughts, feelings, and level of tech support that you require from, I don't know, humans or children, whoever comes to help you. I have a hint of part of my Act 3. I spend this podcast of, it's just something to add to my dealing with rescue dogs. I'm starting to make hats for babies that are newborns at the hospitals around us. So
That's super fucking fun.
it all started because I left my knitting needles at the shore, and we're going to Florida in a couple of days. And I'm looking around the house, and I found these teeny tiny little tiny hat needles. And I thought, you know what? I saw a post, and I didn't think I could do this small. Let me find tiny, and I went through piles of things, and I started to make baby hats. So I could do that, right? It's more volunteer work, so I could do that, right?
Yes, of course. You're already doing it. So it's not could. You're doing it. So that's
I am
cool.
doing that now. I'm going to give them like 20 hats, and I've also knit like 10 or 15 things to donate to the animal rescue because they have a craft show coming up. I just don't want to be a knitter. Like, that's just not, I get bored really quickly. I don't want that to be what I do. But if I could do it seasonally, like, oh, it's time to like bake 1,000,000 cookies or whatever it is for a seasonal something, I will make I guess hats are all year round because people are still having babies. Can you believe that? Have they learned nothing from us?
What's going on? I know. I thought we were a cautionary tale. Pretty clear one.
I
from
thought
the
so
beginning.
too. We are
on both sides. On both sides. Based on the offspring and their behavior and my ability to parent. Like, both of these things should be really, really big red flags.
That's A plus B.
You, folks.
Go ahead. Add C, which is what the world situation is right now, and tell me why you want to still have kids. You can use your money on you instead of 87 tuitions to 20, 30.
Don't you marvel at folk with no offspring? Don't you marvel at them? And you look at their life choices and their clothing and their accoutrements and their
white couches, their linen pants, their
vacation ability and the weeknight hobbying and what happens on everything is just this joyous life. And it's the kind of thing where don't come at me with but retirement and but old age, because fuck you for 5 reasons that 30 reasons that I'm sure I could rattle off the top of my head, and not the least of which is your kids don't fucking go away. They still need you. They still fuck things up. They still wrap the car. I'm not going to wish bad things into the world. They still need money to fly to Sweden to receive the Nobel Prize. They still need money from you.
Look at
to
you
do
flipping
these
that
things,
coin.
Right?
Okay.
Right? They're always come scratching. I got to go get another international award. Can I? And I need money to fly the whole class there. Yeah. No, here's the thing. We've had a lot of interaction in this 4-month period with beloved teen/young adults who are now in their first semester of the away school, and they're a plane ride away. Frankly, plane rides away. And there's lots of them in our environment. So, and there's the ones who are a car ride away, anywhere from 2 hours down to, a tight 38 minutes. And the differences in the commute back and forth from school are significant if you are fortunate enough to have the right institution nearby, and by nearby I mean under 5 hours. Then I would say weight that choice double. I would give it a double word score, because, for example, problem with the flight on Sunday yesterday in the morning means your direct flight that had been booked for months in advance is suddenly a PM flight with a connection through a city that's experiencing a rain delay where you don't get home until 1 a.m. the morning of the day you have class. So nobody wants this. And how do you get an Uber at 1 a.m. at a tiny airport going to your prestigious, yet frankly, poor aeronautically served college? All these things are factors, right? So if you can eliminate that factor with a train or a car, because nobody rides a bus or a boat, but these things, you know what I mean? You can.
There are lots of buses.
Yeah,
I love Oleta Adams. I knew that was coming. The Pitt and Penn State and all those schools they send out the calendars right now for Christmas returns for all those big buses that are coming, but nobody.
And
comes
even the
by
stupid
boat.
things. My middle son is the one that's the tight 38 minutes away, and his roommate is coming from Westchester, New York, and goes home and goes away, and they're he arrived yesterday, little did I know, to my local airport and took an Uber for that 38 minutes, which was $171. And if he had simply so I have now told my son, you need to volunteer. He's a polite boy. It's part of the reason that we like him. He'd never look at you and go, hey, do you think because I'm flying in, could we maybe align our schedules if it's convenient for you? So always say, let's set this up so that you don't have to do this. But the point I'm making to you, and I should even say, I heard my father say that's a similar phrase. So I didn't think, it's not a weird phrase to say. My point to you is this. That's not a weird phrase. People say that all the time. I'm
well,
sure.
You do.
Okay, because I heard my father say something he said something very similar, but it wasn't quite the same. But it was along the lines of, and here's the point I'm making. That's what he said. Here's the point I'm making. I was like,
back to the car.
Okay. All right. In any event,
your whole family, what you're telling me, is very succinct, except for when they're telling stories.
And when we're throwing food around the kitchen. Pick a place that's close to you and think of the savings of time, frustration, but also actual ducats. Because how much? You want to pay $300 just getting to and from the airport? Right? Which is
crazy.
What you'll be doing. Yeah, that's
crazy.
So, blah, blah, blah. And the other thing we talked about is somebody's going to pay for grad school that's not your kid. So that's not you, and that's not your kid. People pay in all other fields, especially my nephew is one of them, in the sciences. They pay to send you to grad school. They want you to get this big brain attitude and come and use it for them. So people will pay for this. So you don't have to worry about, you're done. Grad school is covered by somebody else is what I'm saying. It's true.
I don't think med school and law school have that correlation. I think it does in finance. You can get a job in finance where they will move you towards a master's, but if nobody's hiring you to be a lawyer and then sending you to law school.
100% STEM. I think they do. They do
after this podcast.
No, they do in your case. They do in your case because I already see this future where the megalomania corporation .net is interested in hiring just such a one as your young world beater, and they've decided that it's in their best interest to snag her early. So they actually want to pay to get her brain all filled up with legal knowledge, and they're going to do so. I've seen it, right? They're even going to pay them Uber transfers from the airport so she can go wherever she want to go. That's true. That's true.
I hope somebody sees her that way, which is who she is. But I hope somebody else besides her parents sees that, and they do exactly what you just said.
Of course they do. The only question is how many people will, and how much power do they already wield, because then they can transfer it to her. So that's the good news that's coming your way. I love it.
She also needs to lose her resting bitch face. Do you have a resting bitch face, sweet girl?
Oh, my God. Duh. Do you have one? Have you told me forever that you have one?
I mean,
like
I have
said that before.
Go fuck yourself face more than I'm a bitch. It's don't talk to me more than.
But see, I don't know that you do. You have a go fuck yourself face because you have go fuck yourself thoughts when you're thinking them, and they show up on your face. That's not what I'm talking about. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about when you're thinking happy cupcake, does your face look like I'm going to kill you? Like, that's a resting bitch face. When you're thinking about cupcakes or green leaves on trees or wiggly puppies, when you're thinking about good stuff, how does your face look? Would people be able to guess what you're thinking by what's on your face? That's resting bitch face. And I have it now. I have it now. I didn't have it before.
Is this new?
I had resting imbecile face. I had resting carnival face because people would, I apps more than one occasion on multiple decades of my life, people would tell me, friends and acquaintances alike would say, God, you're always smiling. God, look at you. You're always so happy. Like when I'm not thinking about anything, I'm walking around thinking about pencils. I'm not thinking about anything at all. And I'm legitimately happy. But now the inside of me hadn't changed. And then I look in the mirror or I look in the camera when you pick it up and it's somehow it's looking at you by mistake because it's supposed to be
not
looking the other
fair.
way.
That's not a fair face to judge yourself on. Nope.
I said it to and then I did a test because I started to think, I don't feel like this is a good idea. And I'm also wearing these super big, giant black glasses now, right? Which kind of look good, but they're severe. They are severe and prominent on my face. So you see the glasses and then you see the person behind the glasses. It's a big shift, right? So that in combination with the universal weight of the skin on my face being dragged down to the earth, it's a problem. And I did a test. With my kid on Thanksgiving where I said, I think now, I said, do I have resting bitch face? And he went, yeah. And I said, really? Have I always? And then before I could answer, I said, well, wait, let's do a test. And so I put my hands in front of my face. Oh, I smiled at him. Yee. And then I put my hands in front of my face. And I said, all right, now I'm going to have no expression, but I'm going to be thinking in my heart of a smile. I'm going to be thinking happy smiles. And then I moved my hands away. And I said, you ready? And he said, ready. And I moved my hands and he went, that's a bitch face right there. And everybody's like, yep. All the nephews.
Everybody agreed.
100%. So now I have to get that thread plastic surgery where they make you like a puppet and they go and pull your shit from the inside. It scares me. Or do some gua sha or something.
I cannot. I'm having nightmares about our last podcast. You talked about an oral massage. And I got so upset about the idea of somebody else's hands in my mouth, not just like for my teeth, but to like massage my cheeks and my gums.
Fold massage.
I started flailing just thinking about it. And somebody said to me, are you okay? And I'm like, what? Wait, what? It's fucking awful. Stay out of my mouth.
You got to do that. No, you got to do that shit because that's another one that's going to pull your cheek up. And I mean, I feel like all these women, I'm sure men too, but fuck you, men. I'm sure all these women are having secret plastic surgery. And by secret, I mean, I didn't realize that it's plastic surgery. I just thought, she looked great. Good for you. You won the genetic lottery.
I haven't seen you for 6 months.
You've lived life so well. And instead what they've done is they got that secret inside. Because the other thing I was saying, I'm going to get some tape. You know that skin tape where you can pull your face up?
Absolutely.
I kept saying, I'm going to get tape. And then they were laughing. They thought this was the funniest thing they've ever heard. And I started screaming out, J-Lo used tape. J-Lo used tape. And they're like, well, first of all, you don't need J-Lo face tape. And second, no, she don't. I'm like, she 100% does. Because J-Lo and I are the same age, sort of. And we would be in the same high school class. Okay, so I'm in the same high school class as Jennifer Aniston, J-Lo, somebody else, and another one that you know of, all in the same fucking high school class.
And
Can you
another
imagine
super
it?
pretty one.
No, I'm like, it's John Oliver and fucking The Rock. It's like all these, I don't know if that's right, but they're at a certain point, pick people who are your age and start putting together your high school class. And I'm like, yeah, I could kind of see that. I could kind of see that where I'm still, we have an appropriate amount of distance between us, because if I was in a high school class with J-Lo, I'd think
kill
that
her.
my podcast, no. It's not, I don't feel like J-Lo and I would be super close friends. I think that J-Lo and I would know each other and have a healthy kind of back and forth, but I don't feel like we'd be going to the same parties. I think Jennifer Aniston and I would be kind of friends, because she strikes me as somebody who goes way off the deep end, but she's also just a normal person and kind of doesn't take herself
I
too
think
seriously.
you've got a
not
better
that
shot.
That compares with J-Lo at all. I just don't feel like our backgrounds
I think
really
you got a
align.
better
Anyway.
shot at Chelsea Handler being your BFF in high school than you have with either of the
I don't know,
Jens.
man. I don't know. Chelsea scares me because she's so acerbic. She's so mean-hearted. I want her to be happy. I want her to find joy in her life. I think that we would light some cars on fire and maybe not get arrested and blame it on somebody else. I would do that with Chelsea Handler for sure. We would throw a banging party. That's it. J-Lo would come to my parties and I would go to her parties, but like I'm not going to dance
I'm
with
fine
her
with
for
not
hours and hours at a
standing
day.
next to her and people
Yeah.
knowing that we're the same age. I'm fine with that. That's great.
Oh, I don't mind. I'm just saying, I don't know what I'm saying.
I am going to take a break from this superior
Endless stream of
positivity,
bullshit talk.
this positivity of joy and light, and I'm going to take Amy down one peg by bringing you, dear listener, 30 Seconds with Amy.
Oh, for fuck's sake. I thought you were just going to say bye. Which
No
they will
fucking
say when
way.
they hear they will say when they hear what I'm about to fucking stumble into. But you know what?
In
I
the next-
anticipate the best.
You should, because I'm giving you a topic where you can succeed.
Oh, she says. Okay, I'm ready. I'm not.
In the next 30 seconds, Amy, I need you to tell us many of this topic items as you can. Oh, she's all jumpy over there. She's salivating.
Come on.
Okay.
Come out.
In 30
Woo!
seconds, tell me as many of these as you can. The topic is flowers. Go.
Peonies, roses, lilac, ranunculus, lisianthus, hydrangea, chrysanthemum, daffodil, dandelion, fuck, lavender, fuck. What's a flower? What's a flower look like? Gerbera daisy. What's a flower look like? Look in the flower shop. Look at the flower shop window. Fuck you, Narcissus. Lady of the Valley.
You're still done. I think you did great.
I didn't
think
even
you did
say my
great.
favorite flower of all time. My favorite flower of all time.
Orchids.
False. Not even on the list, although I do love them. Tulip.
Spring is your season.
Double flowering parrot edged tulip. It looks sort of like a peony. It's like a cross between lisianthus and a peony, but it's a tulip, and it has that beautiful motion throughout the day. When you put tulips in water, they dance all day long. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba. Oh, fuck.
I just have one last question for you. Who's
I'm sorry. I'm super sorry. I don't think
What?
you understand how goal motivated I am. If you don't tell me how many fucking flowers I got on this quiz, I'm quitting the show. Did you not count?
You got 11.
Okay. Whew. All right. Thanks. That's mid.
Anything over 10 is a successful.
Oh, that's a B or an A. That's pretty high for me.
I think it's a gold star.
All right, and I recognize my flaws. I almost want to do it again. That's the hard part with this 30 seconds with Amy, because it's only good for one time. It's a beginner's
It's
only.
a one shot and it's over. Yeah.
It's a live for one night only. All right.
One
so
night
you had
only.
a question for me.
I do.
Thank
My
you.
last question for you is this: who the
Check
fuck is
it.
Rudy?
Oh. Okay. So I gave you the highlight about Thanksgiving, didn't I?
Yeah. Yeah.
And here's what's happening. My niece, I think I mentioned that in the lead up to Thanksgiving that I have two nieces who are engaged, one in 2024, one in 2025. So we got some time on this. Well, the one getting married in 2025, the fiance has been a fixture for years, but he ain't never come around the house. So we've been hearing this name for 6 years, and this is the first time We
Never
got to
met
fucking
him?
No, not us. His father, my brother, knows him well from meeting him, but he's not coming to our family fucking Thanksgiving.
Right.
This is the year. He shows up. He's there. So we're like, oh, okay, all right. And you're sort of on notice, like, am I supposed to fucking hug him? And how do we, because when does that start? This is the first chance. And how slow do we go? Because it's a certain point, he's going to be, over his tits in the pool like the rest of us. Like, we just sort of, there's a little, it's like, okay, here we go. And, she knows him real well. She married him. Her sister knows him real well. So he had a good head start. So he's in there, right? And at one point, after the meal, everything's going swimmingly. It's all fine, right? His name is Randy, number one, okay? So he is sitting down on the sofa. And there's multiple sofas in this sort of parlor in my sister's house, and she's got a television in there. So we're all sitting around watching the football game, and, a couple of people are standing in the doorway, as is the case when there's a whole bunch of people gathering. He's on one of the sofas. The other sofa's full. I'm in a chair. Anyway, the room is full, but the sofa that he's on has another seat on it, and nobody is sitting with him or next to him, right? So my mother observes this, and she just sort of glances over at the people standing in the doorway, and she goes, well, gosh, I'm just wondering why nobody wants to sit with Rudy.
Oh,
and everybody starts laughing. And they said, well, do you mean Randy?
Mom.
So then we're like, okay, all right. So that's pretty bad, right? And we're
Welcome
all
to the family.
Kind of broke the ice a little bit. And I'm so sorry. It was just a misspoke, right? We're watching the football game, and the Dallas Cowboys are on. My mom likes the Cowboys. Nobody else likes the Cowboys. And the Cowboys guy is giving away whatever. He's talking. The camera is on his face, and he is saying the play that they're going to run so obviously that you can read his lips when the camera is going. So that's happening, right? And then Randy sneezes, and then they cut to the play, and they immediately do the one that he said he was going to do. And my mother blurts out, he should have covered his mouth. And everyone,
God, poor Rudy, Randy,
thought
this
we
poor
all
kid.
look at her and him, and I said, what is wrong with you? And she said, I'm in the TV.
Welcome to the family, Rudy.
So then on the way out, we all took turns saying, well, it was nice to meet you, Rick. So now we're never, ever, for the rest of his life, he will never be called Randy, because now he has to be every R name that is not. Nobody wants to sit with Rudy because he don't cover his mouth. That's how it goes in my house.
Did your mom apologize to him profusely?
She tried, but what are you gonna? I mean, he knows that it's not that he's weird and sneezes too much. It's just that she's a little bit, she'd gotten into
Randy,
the
if you're
gimlets.
listening, Rudy, we're sorry. Rick, next year it'll be better.
Oh, God.
We apologize. Dear listener, thank you for turning us on. I hope in some small way we turned you on today, although, again, I cannot imagine how. Please stay tuned for Amy's menu. She is so excited to share. She will share that with you. Thank you for coming out and listening. Tell a friend. Tell 7 friends. Thank you so much for turning us on. We love you, and bye.
Bye. But also, hang on, because I'm going to do the thing. You want me to stop talking? How can that be? So here we go. So we started out with lime rosemary gimlets. I got to move my microphone because I can't see it. All right, there we go. Lime rosemary gimlets, followed by homemade chestnut hummus with garlic pita crisps. That was delicious. And you think chestnut hummus, what are you talking about? It was really this delicious, smoky, dark, yummy hummus flavor that went so well with the sharp, salty garlic pita chips. And then she made mini scones, and she had added pizza flavorings, so we were calling them pepperoni scones with anchovy dip. And it sounds a little strange, but it was the most delicious thing you've ever had. Then she made bruschetta, so it's that garlic toasts, covered them with boursin, which is garlic cheese, pomegranate, and pistachio, so they were beautiful and delicious. Then she had andouille and chorizo sausage. And she had sliced it thin and poached it in red wine. So there was these little coins of cooked sausage, and she served that with this kind of silky mustard glaze. Well, that's all just this is just the pregame, right? When she dropped the Manhattan, I didn't get to have any bourbon. So then you go onto the meal, and she opened with a crab bisque, homemade crab bisque, which looked great, but of course, I did not eat it. And then we had a salad. So it was frise and radicchio salad with bacon and cranberries, and there were some pistachios in there as well. And then the turkey, she had brined it in apple cider, so that the roast turkey was not only the most moist and flavorful, but it also had this background of kind of a tart, tart and sharp, but also kind of a sugary flavor, and that was so good, right? And because of the apple cider, the skin on the turkey was the darkest you've ever seen. So it was super, super, almost burnt caramel brown, beautiful, crispy, crunchy skin. So delicious. Mashed potatoes with brown gravy, choux pig corn, homemade sausage stuffing. So she did make it with more of the sausage, which we always do. Homemade macaroni and cheese. And of course, that was beautiful and delicious with cavatappi, the long curly ones that have like a tube. And then, of course, the aforementioned Brussels sprouts, which were made with bacon and sage. Green bean casserole with onion topping, which I brought to the table. And because I don't eat it, I totally forgot to bring out the onion topping to crumble on top. So I brought out the green bean casserole. And then when I went back in to serve the desserts, I found the green bean casserole topping and I served it again. And then everybody was like, well, I'll just have some more green bean casserole. And they put the topping on it. Isn't that funny? So we were all forgetting things. And then cranberry sauce 2 ways. So the homemade cranberry sauce with the one in the can that had the sliced ridges in it. Then for dessert, she made arguably one of her, I think this is top 5 desserts of all time. She made a 4-layer mousse cake. So, and it took 6 hours of continuous work to make the cake because each of the mousse layers have to partially set but not thoroughly set. Otherwise, the next layer of mousse that goes on top of it won't affix to the one underneath. It won't stick together. So it's not like you can make a layer of mousse and come back tomorrow. So she had to keep doing it. So, and I took a picture of it. It's beautiful. So the first layer is a thick and fudgy chocolate cake made of a cake layer. Then on top of that is a mousse. The first one was chestnut mousse, which was delightful. Sandwiched against pumpkin mousse. And then on top, she had made a cinnamon mousse and served the whole thing with whipped cream. So it looks like a variegated color slice pie, cake. So good. And then there were also key lime pie custard cups with the graham cracker crust and then the key lime pie and then the meringue on top. And those were served chilled. And then there was the spiced pumpkin pie with a flaky pastry crust. And so all 3 of these. And of course, I had all of the desserts because why would I just have one? So and then cordials and cocktails after dinner. So that was the meal for Thanksgiving.